There's a high school in the Washington County School District in which the teachers all came out to their students, and now there are young people that are acting out homosexual behavior in the hallways.
The kind of thing they like to get into is conducive to spreading diseases because they have to have more and more, because really what homosexuality and homosexual sex is an addiction.
And to add to the discussion then, now we're going to invite Charlie Hinkle, an attorney and ordained minister, who has been a prominent voice for reason and an active legal voice and activist for full civil rights for our community for many decades. Please welcome Charlie Hinkle.
I think you get the sense from what Kathleen said, perhaps from the movie as well, that 1992 in a way was the best of times and the worst of times, because there was so much good that came out of it, but so much bad that we had to go through to get there. I heard Barbara Roberts give a speech just about a week and a half ago, in which she said the Oregon Citizens Alliance had lost every time they tried a statewide measure. And that shows how easy it is to forget, because they won their first measure, which was in 1988, and it was an attack not just on Governor Goldschmidt's executive order that banned discrimination in the executive branch, but it put a statute on the books that would have prevented the state from ever adopting any kind of job discrimination or protection or anything else. And it was a very courageous librarian at the University of Oregon named Harriet Merrick who stepped up after that victory by the OCA and filed a lawsuit. And we got that statute declared unconstitutional. But that 1988 measure was a huge stepping stone for the Oregon Citizens Alliance because it gave them credibility. It gave them a fundraising base. And they were really feeling their oats after that. And so in 1990, 2 years later, they put on the ballot an anti-abortion, a very draconian anti-abortion measure. Well, they overreached. They misjudged their audience and they lost. Well, they knew which horse they should be riding on then. You win if you go after gays, you lose if you go after abortion. So they went back after gays then in the next election, and that brings us to 1992. Lon Maybon, who was head of the OCA, I don't think ever made a dime in his life until he found out that he could make money bashing gay people. And he made a career out of it. And that's the only business he ever had to succeed was the Oregon Citizens Alliance, when he used it as a personal fundraising device for probably 10 years or so, or maybe even longer. So the 1992 campaign was kind of a watershed for us. I found the voters pamphlet for that year. Did the movie show the actual text, or have you seen the actual text? I won't read the whole thing, but it said this: the state shall not recognize any categorical provision such as sexual orientation or any similar phrase that includes homosexuality, pedophilia, sadism, or masochism. And that's the note that they sounded all during the campaign, equating homosexuality with pedophilia and sadism and masochism. All nasty things, all things to be shunned, all things to be swept under the rug. And in that regard, they overstepped too. Because if they had, I said to a reporter outside a moment ago, if the OCA had come up with a more modest proposal, as they did in subsequent years, they might well have won in 1992. It was a bitter campaign. It was a hard-fought campaign. And a lot of us went around the states. Kathleen did, debating and speaking in every group that we could. The point at which my most prominent speech, I guess I'll say it that way, was the City Club debate. The City Club sponsored a debate on Measure 9 between me and Scott Lively. And it was telecast statewide by Channel 8. And it was Scott Lively was a handsome, charismatic, articulate, smart individual, but tragically he has devoted his life to hate. Because if he had devoted his life to good, I mean, he might win the Nobel Prize or something. I mean, he's that sort of person. And how he got so twisted at some early stage in his life to bear, imagine bearing that burden all of his life of being consumed by hate and dedicating his whole life to opposition to gay people. I mean, you have to really feel sorry for the guy, I think.